One of the biggest mistakes I see most new coaches make, a mistake that I made myself, is believing that the longer we work, the harder we work, the more successful we'll be and the more money we'll make. But after years of running my coaching business, working ridiculous hours, hustling my butt off, I realized that this formula is broken. Now, before we go beating ourselves up for having this belief, we have to first realize and understand that it's not our fault. This belief was handed down to us. It was planted in our mind. They said, work hard, work long, and then you'll be successful, and then you'll make money. But let me ask you this. Can you think of anyone in your life right now who's been working so hard, been working so long, who is still not successful? Of course you can think of someone. Because if this formula was correct, then we'd see a lot more people making a lot more money, because there's certainly no shortage of hard work happening around us, is there? So how do we make more money in our coaching businesses while working less? That's what we're talking about in today's video in part 1 of this mini-series, all about working less and making more. So make sure you stick around for the whole thing to get the full picture. Hi, I'm Muna. Welcome back to my channel. I'm very happy to have you here. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to get notified every time I release a new video. I started my career in an advertising agency, and if you've ever worked with an agency or in an agency, then you must know that working for a whole bunch of clients automatically meant for us, especially the junior ones, long working hours. Working weekends was not uncommon at all. Working late was a regular thing. I mean, almost 5 days a week. Maybe if we're lucky, we'd get 2 nights off. But this kind of hard work and effort really paid off when I was an employee working for an advertising agency. And then I moved to a few different companies. And the last company that I worked for, the biggest one, the global one that I worked for, things were different there. I remember I went in with the same mindset I had in all of the different companies where I worked, the cultures where I worked. There were only 2 or 3, but they all valued those long working hours. Showing up early and leaving late and being available all of the time was appreciated and recognized, and sometimes, not often, but sometimes rewarded. So I brought that mindset with me into my new job, and it was a higher position job. I was in a managerial position, and it was exciting, and I wanted to prove to my new boss that he made the right choice by hiring me. So what did I do? I was always the first person to show up to the office. I turned the lights on as soon as I got to the office. That's how early I showed up. And then I was often maybe the last or among the last people to leave at night. And I thought that I was impressing my boss with that. Until one day, a few months in, he came and said, Muna, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm working hard, I'm putting in the hours, look at all this effort. And he was an awesome boss, I have to say. He basically said, Muna, when I see someone working longer hours than is required, showing up to work every single day, like the first person to show up and the last person to leave, that doesn't impress me at all. What that tells me is that this person doesn't know how to manage her time, doesn't know how to delegate, doesn't know how to take care of this position that she has. So I'm just here to tell you that I appreciate your hard work, I see it, but that's not what we're looking for here. Now that was a complete shock to me. I didn't really understand it. I mean, I came from those cultures that I told you about where it was all about the long hours, it was all about the hard work. And here I am in a new company in a higher position where my boss is basically telling me, go home. Just do your job and go home. You don't need to spend even more time here. Now, when I went out on my own to start my own coaching business, unfortunately, I didn't take what I learned from the last boss. I took what I learned from all of my previous bosses. And I took what I learned from my society and my parents and my teachers, who always said, work hard, work long, and then you'll be successful. So that's what I did for years. I was hustling all of the time. And if I sat down to rest, I would feel so guilty, because what I thought would get me to success, what I thought would help me arrive at last, was hard work. So if I wasn't working hard, what was I doing then? So the guilt would hit and I would get up and start working again. Only I wasn't working within a strategy. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just working for the sake of working. But the difference now was there was no boss to tell me, good job, wow, look at you working hard. No one was telling me that. I certainly wasn't saying that to myself, because no matter how many hours I was working, it was never enough for me when I became my own boss. But all of this hard work really did not result in anything tangible, in anything amazing. I mean, the effort I was putting in was definitely not giving me the results I thought I would get. And things completely changed when I changed the way I look at my business and I changed the way that I operate my business. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you 2 of the ways that have really helped me scale the business and work much less than I used to. So let's get right into it with the first way, and that is to create a content strategy. As an online coach, you know that the best way to attract new audiences and new followers to you, and with that, new potential clients, is by creating consistent, high-value, high-quality content. But do you ever wake up and sit there and scratch your head, wondering what you're going to talk about today, what content you're going to put out there, trying to come up with new ideas? And then maybe you come up with a great idea and off you go to shoot that video or write that blog or create that post, and you feel so good about it for today. And then tomorrow comes and there you are scratching your head again, wondering, what am I going to talk about today? It's exhausting, isn't it? I've been there myself, and I have considered quitting this whole thing because it was just so exhausting. And I mean, I would ask myself, who can come up with ideas every single week, sometimes even every single day? Who has the time to do that? Well, actually, a lot of people do, myself included now. I remember a time when I used to feel like I was always behind on content and that I needed to stay active on Instagram all of the time, and I just felt so overwhelmed with this whole thing. So the process of creating content was simply not joyful. And things completely changed when I learned how to create a content strategy. And a content strategy is a living, breathing thing, just like you and like your business. So as you evolve and as you change, and as your business evolves and changes as well, so will your content strategy. It's not something that's set in stone, it's completely changeable. So what creating a content strategy has given me is so much more clarity on my priorities and my goals, because I was no longer just creating one piece of content whenever I got a great idea. I was now looking at a full strategy, keeping the end in mind. What am I trying to get people to do? What's the call to action? What's my offer? What do I want them to believe and to think? And all of these things, starting with the end in mind and working backwards from there. So now the content started flowing and started making more sense and started fitting in this very clear container that became my messaging and the way that I speak to my people and to you guys. Another thing creating a content strategy has given me is time, my time back. It saved me so much time. My content is now created weeks in advance, sometimes even months, when I know something big is coming up. Like, for example, this year has been a very good year for me, very busy year, happy year, generally speaking. But like everyone else in the world, I've had my share of challenges and struggles. This year, my daughter had COVID-19 twice. I caught it once. My husband went into an emergency appendectomy or whatever it's called and had to stay in the hospital for 2 nights. Anyway, I'm not talking about all the problems that we had. The point here is that throughout all of these things that happened, while I was taking care of my baby who was sick, my content was still going out. While I was tending to my husband when he wasn't feeling well, my content continued to go out to my audience. And that's thanks to having a content strategy that then helped me batch my content in advance, because I no longer needed to spend all of this time sitting there and wondering, what am I going to talk about? In the past, whenever something happened in my life, whether it was good or bad, I would go completely silent on social media. And that's because I was creating my content day by day back then. And so on the days that life gave me a surprise, like life gives you surprises sometimes, I was just too busy to sit and think of content and create that piece of content. But not anymore, not since I created my content strategy, my living, breathing content strategy, that going on holiday or having an emergency didn't automatically mean that my content stopped. It only stopped when I wanted it to stop. It only stopped when I wanted to intentionally take a break from it, not because I was too busy to come up with content. Now, content is a very big topic that I'm not going to dive into in today's video, but I'm very excited to announce this exciting and unique opportunity for us to work together. I'm looking to work with a small, intimate group of coaches where together we'll be creating your roadmap to online business success. A step-by-step process for 8 weeks, working very closely with me and with other coaches just like you. And in this beta program, the first version of the program, what I'm looking for are a few founding members that will join me to create this program together. And one of the key pillars in what we're going to be talking about during this program is content creation and creating your very own content strategy. So if this sounds interesting to you, then raise your hand and let me know that you're interested in hearing more about it when the program is ready to be launched. You can do that by clicking on the link underneath this video. That will lead you to a waitlist page where you will be the first notified once you fill in your details, the first notified when I open the doors to enrollment in this program, and where I share with you all of the information about it to see if you're a good fit for this exciting new opportunity. Moving on to the second way, and it's to offer group coaching. I know this sounds obvious, but I also know that for many coaches, especially those who are relatively new, they are a little bit hesitant when it comes to group coaching. Maybe you think the same way I used to think, that offering group coaching will not give your clients the same kind of individual support and individual attention that you like to give your clients. And I mean, it sounds logical. But let me tell you, group coaching, I'm going to talk about it first from myself being coached within a group. And maybe you've had this experience too. I don't know if you've ever joined a group coaching program. You probably have. You're a coach, and we love coaching, don't we? And we love programs like these. So I'm assuming that you have. Let me know in the comments. Say yes or no, group coaching, whatever. Let me know if you've been there. And I absolutely loved it. In fact, some of my biggest aha moments and transformations happened while I was watching someone else being coached. Why? Because there's a concept called fishbowl coaching, and this is where you are sitting on the outside watching someone being coached, someone being given support, and in this way you are so much more objective. So even if this person has the exact same problem that you have, you're able to be much more objective about it because it's no longer yours. So when the coach is coaching that person and says whatever they say to them, you don't feel defensive. You don't feel like you want to answer because now it's outside of you. And even if the person being coached has a problem that you don't have, there's still value there, because either one day you're going to have this problem, or one day you'll have a client who will have this problem and you can help them with that. So just my personal feeling that group coaching offers so much more than individual coaching. Of course, there's value in one-on-one coaching. I'm not dismissing that at all. I'm just saying there's so much that happens in a group coaching environment that is not possible in one-on-one. What group coaching also offers is accountability and more accountability. Because when you're coaching someone one-on-one and they don't meet the goals or they don't do what they said they're going to do, it's just you, and you can talk about it and work through that. But when it's a small group of people or even a big group of people and everyone's working on the same task or everyone's working towards changing something in their mindset or working on homework together, there's a sense of community that happens, and then we start feeling accountable not just to our coach, we start feeling accountable to the rest of the people in the group. So when you offer group coaching, your clients, this group of people, become accountability buddies for each other, whether officially or unofficially. And with more accountability, like we've talked about a couple of weeks ago in one of my videos, more accountability leads to more results. And when clients get results, they're happy clients and they come back to you. And now, of course, because of our topic today, and we're talking about working less and making more, we have to talk about the fact that group coaching will bring you in a lot more money than one-on-one coaching. Simply put, if instead of taking one client at a time, you take two, you've doubled the income from this income stream at least. That's as simple as it is. And now maybe you grow to 4 people, to 5, to 10, to 20. And now you're getting paid by multiple people for the same amount of time. And that is exactly what it means to work less and make more. So there's so much joy in offering group coaching. I find it to be much more rewarding. I don't know if you've experienced that too. Again, please tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And it brings you in more money. Now, there's something that I have to talk about before I leave you today, and that's, I want you to understand that when we talk about working less and making more, we're not talking about being lazy. I mean, I hope that you know by now from all of the stories that I shared with you and from you seeing how much content I'm putting out there that I love to work. But working hard and working long, as we've agreed, doesn't necessarily lead to success or to more money. But working less also doesn't mean sitting on the couch and doing nothing. It's about working more strategically and working with more intention and within a strategy. So I hope you enjoyed those very simple 2 ways, and I'll be talking so much more about that in the 8-week program that I told you about, in the beta version of this program, at least for now. So if you're interested, make sure you get your name on the list and you'll be the first notified when the doors are open and when I start communicating about what's going to be available in these 8 live coaching weeks with me. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and make sure you come back for part 2 where I share 2 more, or maybe 3, let's see, more ways in which you can work less and make more. I appreciate you. I appreciate the time that you've given me, and I'll see you next time.